Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone, and I'm sorry we have to bring it up again, but the Luka Doncic trade is somehow getting worse, which didn't feel possible for a trade that is considered by most to be one of, if not the single worst trades in all of NBA history, in fact, even sports history. But the way the season has started off for the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks has showcased a new low for this deal, for Nico Harrison, for Mavericks fans to have to suffer watching Luka go crazy for the shockingly good Lakers to start off this season. Well, the Mavs they've had one of the most dismal starts that you could have possibly imagined coming into the season, because tonight they played the New Orleans Pelicans, who have one win on the season, and it came last night in a very hard fought end of game, down to the final buzzer win. So they played their butts off, the second half of a back-to-back in Dallas, as a team that just is bad without Zion Williamson. He's not in the lineup. So, or Yves Missi, which is great for a Mavs team that has a lot of size. This should be a layup. This should be a clear win for the Mavericks, who have been terrible so far this season, to get right against an absolutely abysmal defense, a team that has a negative double-digit net rating. This is a chance to go ahead and get right. But what do? They lose to the Pelicans. And guess what? With this loss, not only are they now tied record-wise with that terrible Pelicans team, the team that everybody can't stop talking about how they traded away their first-round pick because it feels like you could be top 5 this year, but because they lost the Pelicans, they now don't have the tiebreaker, and the Dallas Mavericks are the last place team in the Western Conference. They are the 15th seed. And listen, it is less than 10 games into the year. Maybe they could turn it around somehow, and sure, they're missing AD, Lively, Kyrie, they were dealing with injuries too, but that's not an excuse to lose to this team. There are a lot of teams that are very, very injured in the NBA right now. The Lakers, for example, have not had LeBron James. Luka's missed 3 to 4 games. Reeves has missed 1 or 2. I think he's missed 1. And they're still finding ways to get big wins left and right. And when Luka is playing, Luka's the biggest reason why. Because so far to start this season, he might be the MVP of the league. Because through the first, 8 games now for the Lakers, who are 6-2, by the way, 1 game back of the Thunder for the 1 seed, with LeBron not playing so far, he's putting up about 40 points per game, nearly averaging a 40-point triple-double, and he's doing it with the 3-ball not even really falling. Tonight wasn't his most efficient night, but yet he was still impacting the game at an unbelievable level, 35, 9, and 13 with 5 steals. He is looking leaner. He is playing better defensively. This whole Lakers team has been somewhat impressive, because I thought they were going to be a nightmare on that end, and Luka now has the 4th or 5th most points, something, I'll show the graphic here, by any player through their first 8 games of a season ever, or for first 5 games. It's however many Luka has played. So currently, Luka might be hitting a new peak. We're talking about Luka Doncic here, by the way, the guy that a couple seasons ago led the Mavericks to the NBA Finals while having one of the greatest statistical seasons ever, a guy that's already a Hall of Famer this early into his career. That is the Luka that we're talking about that is hitting a new peak, while the Dallas Mavericks are dead last in the Western Conference. About 1.5 years ago, it's not even been 2 full years, they were in the NBA Finals. They had seemingly made all the right moves. They brought in PJ. The Kyrie trade was a big success. Derek Lively was looking great for them. Daniel Gafford. They were seemingly doing it all right and poised to battle with the Thunder going into the next season. I thought the Mavericks were the Thunder's biggest threats. I thought the Mavericks and Luka Doncic were going to be a rival for the Thunder for years to come, that there was going to be this insane Shea versus Luka rivalry, Dallas versus Oklahoma City, for the next 5 to 10 years. That's the way I thought it was going to go. I think everybody thought that, and it's how crazy is it that the Mavericks went from Dirk Nowitzki to now Luka Doncic? These 2 generational Hall of Fame type talents. How crazy is that? And then they deal him away because he's injury prone and they worry about him being in shape. Well, guess what? He's in shape now, and the injury prone guy, you traded for Anthony Davis, and we've talked about how injury prone he is, but it feels very poetic that Anthony Davis is out with injury right now. And it's an injury that mirrors the one that Luka Doncic was dealing with at points last season that helped to spur the Mavericks on to trade him. Never mind, he is an older player, and in the meantime, built out a roster that at one point made sense with Luka, but now because you have no guard play, makes no sense whatsoever. Clay can't get it going, and I just don't think Clay's really got it like that anymore, but it would sure help if he had one of the best playmakers on the planet to play off of. D'Lo, you're trying to have him as your point guard, you put him in the starting lineup tonight, had a bad game, and they've been better with him out there, but he's not a real like ball handler that can elevate an offense. Cooper Flagg is doing everything he can, but I'm starting to worry that he's got something wrong with like his shoulder because he keeps kind of grabbing at it and stuff. And credit to him, he had a pretty good game, missed the shot to send this one to overtime, but like Cooper Flagg is doing his best, and I think he's going to be really, really good. But he's now an 18-year-old that's being looked at to be the savior of the franchise because the previous savior, the guy that had done it, he had saved the franchise, was shipped out by a guy who thinks he knows better than literally everybody else when clearly he is the one that is just out of his absolute mind. And you've got all these bigs and, you know, their defense has been fine. Guess where their offense ranks? Dead last. They are the worst offense in the NBA. They have an offensive rating of 103.2. That's ridiculously bad. That is a full 2.5 points worse than the Washington Wizards, who are 1-7. Which, by the way, guess who gave them that one win? Maybe it's the Dallas Mavericks. It's 2.9 worse than the Indiana Pacers, who don't have Halliburton and have missed basically their entire rotation for all of this season. It's worse than that Pelicans team we talked about. The Memphis Grizzlies, who are dealing with so many injuries, it's hard to even bring up all the names, and Ja Morant cannot buy a bucket this entire season. They are worse than all of those teams, and the fact that it's a 2-point gap, that is a sizable gap, no matter what point of the season you're at. So they have an abysmal offense. You know what would really help? Luka Doncic. Defense can't win a championship, Nico Harrison, if the team physically can't score. And I just cannot believe in the offseason there were people telling me this is a dark horse championship team. This is going to be an elite squad. They're really good. They were never going to be. The ceiling for them was a play-in spot because they can't score the basketball. And again, that it's very poetic that Luka Doncic, you know, has this crazy performance to move the Lakers to a 6-2 record, and they've got all the momentum the same night that the Mavericks fall to the bottom of the Western Conference barrel as a team that just cannot score the basketball. I don't know how people didn't see this coming. I think people knew they were going to be worse when they traded Luka Doncic, but some people just deluded themselves into thinking this was going to be a good Mavericks team when it never was. It was never going to be a good team. It just wasn't. Especially if they dealt with injuries, which felt very, very likely when you're relying on Anthony Davis. I don't think Kyrie's coming back this season, even when he does next year. Like, Kyrie doesn't fix this team. You built out a roster that was made for Luka Doncic and then shipped him out, and now he's doing insane stuff over there in Los Angeles. It felt like things couldn't get worse with the Luka trade. We went through the offseason. We reached a point where it's like, okay, they got Cooper Flagg. I saw some Mavs fans that I know on Twitter buying back in a little bit, saying like, okay, at least we have Cooper Flagg. You know, I'll give the team another shot. I still really miss Luka. But like, I mean, at this point, if I was a Mavs fan, I was back in, I might be back out again at this point. Like, it's just an absolute nightmare. The only reason they can't fire Nico Harrison is because they can't admit that they're wrong yet. Like, they got to try and commit to it a little bit, but it's one of the biggest blunders in sports history. And it's the fact that it's playing out this way now to start the season, with the Lakers just defying all expectations and the Mavericks being, you know, one of the most disappointing teams in the league to people that believed in them for some reason. I wasn't a believer, but I guess even I thought they could be like a 9 or a 10 seed. No. I like, the season is so early, they could get there, but this offense is too awful for them to be a playing team, I think, at this point. It would take a miracle, revolutionary shift in the offense for Cooper Flagg to suddenly just become this complete offensive player, which is a lot to ask for him as an 18-year-old, as the youngest player in the NBA, by the way. And I mean, honestly, getting a lottery pick is the way to go. If they were smart, they would just blow this thing up. They would trade away AD, PJ, anybody with value, and just try and recuperate a bunch of assets, tank this year, and try to get like an AJ or a Darren Peterson or Ken Boozer, one of those guys, to play alongside Cooper Flagg. Like, that is the way they should go. It's not the way they will go, though, because they made a win-now move, trading away a generational talent, already a Hall of Famer in Luka Doncic, to try and, you know, win now. They're like, oh, this is a win-now move, and now they're awful. Well, the team that they trade Luka to is one of the best in the NBA so far, without LeBron James, maybe the greatest player to ever touch a basketball, playing in a single game. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I guess that's my rant about how the trade has just been getting worse. I feel so, like, every single day, I feel like guilty watching Luka on the Lakers, because I just know that Mavericks fans are suffering from that happening, and I feel really, really bad for them. But yeah, credit to Derek Queen, and I guess I'll give some credit to the Pelicans. Derek Queen has been playing really well. You know, there's a lot of pressure on him because the Pelicans traded their first-round pick to get him this year. But yeah, had a really, really solid game. And for the Lakers, they had an insane ending to the game against the Spurs. Wemby fouls out. A couple bad games in a row now, one against the Suns and against the Lakers from Wemby. He was never going to put up like a 40 30-point, 5-block season. But he's going through a little bit of growing pains right now. I think also Dylan Harper being hurt hurts him a little bit. They don't have like that playmaker really. And De'Aaron Fox, hopefully he comes back soon. But I thought Ayton played really good defensively and finished with 22 and 10. He's actually been really solid so far this season. 17, 5 and 5 from Marcus Smart. We already kind of talked about Luka Doncic. At the end of this game, Marcus Smart commits an inbound violation. He doesn't get out of bounds to inbound the ball. And so that gives the Spurs back the ball. They try to inbound it. It goes back out of bounds and they've got like 0.4 seconds left. So they inbound the ball to Julian Champagnie, who gets pushed in the back from Jake LaRavia. He's an 86% free throw shooter. Just has to knock down 2 of them to go ahead and send this game to overtime. Missed the first one, tries to miss or does miss on purpose on the second one, but Keldon Johnson can't tip it up and in. And the Lakers, like we talked about, survive and are now 6-2 in the season, which is very, very impressive. So that's where we're at right now. In the Luka Doncic situation, let me know what your thoughts are on that trade at this point. I mean, I can guess what your thoughts are. The rest of the NBA, my Thunder lose their first game. Blazers 121-119. Thunder really beat up. No Lou Dort, no Chet Holmgren, no Alex Caruso. Of course, no Jalen Williams still. Second half of back-to-back 3 games in 4 nights. Like, this was going to be the one that the Thunder were going to lose if they were going to lose in the next few. And they do. Credit to the Blazers. Really hard-fought defensive game. Made it really difficult for Shea. Aaron Wiggins did go crazy, 27 points and 7 threes. Had a chance to go ahead and win it or send it to overtime at the end, but Isaiah Joe's foot was barely on the line when he got fouled in a 3-point attempt, and the Thunder similarly were not able to make a missed free throw thing work. Denny had one of the weirdest stat lines I've ever seen, 26, 10, and 9 with 2 steals and a block, while shooting 5 of 17 from the field, 5 of 16 from the free throw line. Up until like the end of the third quarter, I think it was, or maybe even the fourth, he was just 0 for. He was like 0 for 11 or something crazy, but ended up turning up in the end. Jrue Holiday hit 6 threes, 22 points. Duop Reith hit 4 big threes, 20 from Jeremy Grant. It was just an absurd shot-making game from the Blazers. Like, when their offense clicks with this defense, they're a really tough team to beat. And the Thunder, I think we had beat them like 16 times in a row. It was due. So credit to the Blazers for going ahead and knocking off OKC, handing us our first L. We had the Nuggets knocking off the Heat. Jokic 33, 15, and 16. I feel like it's just kind of become normalized what he's capable of. Aaron Gordon with 24 points. He's been so good this season. Cam Johnson still can't quite get it going, but I just think that the shot quality, like the looks that he's getting, they're just too good for him not to start eventually hooping out there. Bam Adebayo left this one early after 8 minutes. That really hurt them because they did, maintain in this one. 23 from Norman Powell, 21 from Jaime Jaquez, 22 from Andrew Wiggins, but without Bam Adebayo, who's just been so good this season. I haven't talked enough about how good Bam has been. Credit to Bam and the Heat for still putting up a fight without him. And yeah, the Nuggets just looking good, unsurprising. The Cavs get Darius Garland back. They beat the Sixers 132-121. Donovan Mitchell, 46 points. This looked more like the Cavs team that I picked to win the Eastern Conference. I think they're going to kind of have that identity on more nights now that they're getting healthier. Pistons 114-103 beat the Utah Jazz. Jalen Duren 22-22. Great game from Asar. Cade is like the best fourth quarter in the sport right now. The Pacers lose to the Nets. Nets get their first win of the season. Michael Porter Jr. had 32 and 11. Pacers they're going for like an AJ or a Darren or a Kent Boozer. Like, they want that top guy, and it's going to be insane next season when they get a healthy Tyrese Halliburton back and one of those guys. The Celtics won 136-107 against the Wizards. Jaylen Brown had 35, 5 and 5. Has been really solid for them as a one option. But Alex Sarr, we have not talked enough on this channel about Alex Sarr, how good he's been. 31 and 8 in this game. Like, he is actually taking a big step forward. Has been maybe the best sophomore in the league so far this season. It's been like him and Madas, and there have been a bunch of other guys who've been impressive, but Alex Sarr has been really, really, really good. And, because the Wizards suck, I don't think people really talk about it. The Knicks knock off the Timberwolves 137-114. Anthony Edwards did end up playing in this one, made his return. Wasn't that great. Julius Randle, another guy I've not talked about enough, 32, 5 and 4. He was awesome. But 25 from OG, 23 from Jalen Brunson, 13 from McHale, 18 from Josh Hart, one of his best games of the season. Just offensive firepower all over the place for the Knicks. Rockets destroyed the Grizzlies. I mean, the Grizzlies are just a massive failure to start this season. I know they're injured, but they're really not even putting up a fight a lot of nights. Ja, another really bad efficiency game, 28. 10 and 7 though from Allen Thompson. Rockets' best net rating in the league right now. They've been amazing. And final game is the Kings knock off the Warriors behind a 23, 16 and 10 triple-double from my guy Russell Westbrook. People try to tell me he couldn't hoop anymore. He can still hoop. And you got 30 points from Will Richard, 24 for Kuminga, 28 from Moses Moody. This was an ugly game because no Steph, no Jimmy, no Draymond, no Zach LaVine, no DeMar DeRozan. season. Like it was no Domantas Sabonis. It was a disgusting Pacific Division game, but it was a fun one. So yeah, that's what's happening in the NBA right now. I appreciate you watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Let me know down below in the comments what your thoughts are, updated ones on the Luka trade. Curious to think if you think it's the worst one. I'm sure most of you think it's the worst one in NBA history, but sports history, I would like to hear that conversation down below. I do think the Lakers are a contender. How high can they climb up? I guess they're at 2, so it's hard to climb much higher, but where can they finish in the Western Conference standings, as well as the Dallas Mavericks? You think they're a bottom feeder team, that they're going to turn this thing around somehow? What are your expectations? But yeah, I appreciate you watching. I'll see y'all later. Real one, stay back.